difficult to design a great user experience if you don't know a lot about the user. And that is what user testing is all about. And it can help you in many ways. And in this video, we're going to go over all of the basics of user testing. We're also going to discuss some of the most popular and useful softwares to do so. And we're going to go over all of the characteristics. So without further ado, let's jump into the video. In this video, we'll dive deeper into user testing. We will also discuss the tools which I recommend to perform efficient user testing. And user testing is an essential stage of the design flow as it allows you to understand key data from your users. So let's get started and let's talk about this topic. Now, what is user testing? User testing refers to a technique used in the design process to evaluate a product, feature, or prototype with real users. There are several reasons why you might want to undergo usability testing, and the most common is that it allows the design team to identify friction in a user experience that they are designing, so that it can be addressed before being built or deployed. Now, identifying any issues early reduces the longer-term cost. Typically, tasks are set with which users are asked to perform to the best of their ability, and while observers watch, listen, and take notes. Setting up user testing involves creating a test plan, recruiting participants, performing the test, and analyzing the results to produce findings and recommendation. Now, why is user testing important? Well, simply because it can potentially save a company a lot of money, make your projects more successful, and make you look good for all those new customers you'll convert at the end of it. There's a series of reasons why user testing is important in design flow. First one is it improves what you already got. Secondarily, whatever stage you're currently at, being the wireframe, the prototype, procrastination mode, user testing will be always enlightening what it is that you need to improve upon what you already have. Identify also the main issues, and it allows you to understand the strengths and opportunities for future enhancements. It also increases your sales, and whether you're responsible for e-commerce sales, online conversion, or sales of a product, there's a common factor for those that go through regular user testing. They're usually on average more successful, and they experience higher and faster growth, and the business works better because as a whole, everybody understands the user better. Now, there's different types of user testing, and before you pick a particular testing method, you should have a clear understanding of your target audience and available resources such as money and time, and research objectives. This information not only will help you select the relevant testing method, but also adjust the questions and tasks for your test participants. Now let's discuss usability testing methods that you might want to include in your test plan. The first part is user usability testing or UX research. And what does usability testing mean? Well, UX research, the definition is that we can define this concept as the efficiency and ease of use of a web page or an electronic interface or an e-commerce site by a user in order to satisfy the latter's need. In other words, when I enter an e-commerce site and after I have correctly identified the purpose of that site, which corresponds to my purpose as a user, to buy a product or service, the fact that I will not find what I want, not interacting with your product, mistakes that will practically lead to the abandonment of the respective site. It is not my fault that I am not sufficiently technical or sufficiently versed in using the online stores, but it is the fault of that online store that did not prepare the site for a more straightforward use by any people. Now, website usability is a mandatory requirement for an e-commerce site. An online store that does not fulfill its purpose of selling products due to poor usability cannot be called an online store or e-commerce site. It dissociates itself from the purpose for which it was created to sell. It merely goes wrong and sometimes can even go bankrupt. Now, another way of testing is A/B testing. And this type of testing is one of the most efficient and fast ways to increase the numbers of conversions. A/B testing is the process by which two different variants of an email are sent to a different groups of subscribers. It's important to remember that each group must receive only one variant of the email, not both, and they must be sent on the same day and at the same time. Then track customer reactions and determine which variant has aroused the reaction that help you meet the proposed goals. By testing A/B, you will learn a lot about your site visitors and the type of content they respond best to it. Before you determine what you are testing, you need to set the goals, what you want to achieve. For example, if you want to increase the number of people subscribed to the newsletter, you have to test the following elements: the registration form, its length, and the required fields, the call to action button, and the privacy policy. After testing these elements, you will surely get surprising test results that will help you in the development process to obtain a much improved registration form. The purpose of A/B testing is to learn as much about customer behavior and preferences. Now, let's talk about beta testing. The beta version is considered the complete version, which is not yet ready for the end user due to the lack of testing real conditions and the incorrect errors. Websites, operating systems, and different applications can be in the beta testing stage. Beta testing can be opened, launched for anyone who wants to try the unstable version, and closed beta testing, designed for testing in a group or a restricted group condition. The beta version aims to finish the performance testing and needed to identify problems that cause errors. Permission for open testing of the beta version is a possibility to try software under real conditions, because to understand how an application will work, you will need to check the functioning of the beta version, which can help the developer eliminate errors. Beta testing of the software is carried out together with all other testing tools, computer or other device, and the rest of the applications. Beta testers provide information about the beta version, errors, using user feedback, or by automatically sending statistics. Experienced testers can provide information that can be useful to developers, help expand or add different features, and other ideas for the improvement. Another way to test is by using focus groups. The focus group is a qualitative research technique which consists in establishing a discussion on a given topic with a group consisting of 8 to 10 participants, usually for 1 or 2 hours. The method allows for obtaining in-depth information on the motivations and the behaviors of the interest categories. This technique can be used in various fields, such as testing messages, products, advertisements, identifying perceptions about a product, organization, service, or concept, evaluation or testing of advertising and promotional campaigns, identification of the profile of a target group, identifying the characteristics of a brand, and much, much more. Another type of user testing is represented by surveys, which help you to obtain user feedback about your product from your customers, things that would help you to improve it. It's one of the easiest ways to obtain data from your customers, because they can complete the surveys via any device and from anywhere. It's recommended to appeal to customer satisfaction surveys if you want to receive in a short term a lot of responses from your customers regarding your product. The information gathered will help you and your UX to have clear indications in the design process and on information architecture to deliver a perfect user journey for your customers. Now let's discuss the difference between usability testing and user testing. So first of all, user testing refers to the emotions, responses, and behaviors of a customer regarding your products from the moment he or she starts using it to the moment they stop. Secondly, usability testing is a different method besides user testing. This method refers to the way that one of your customers can use your product to accomplish specific goal. And the thing that really plays a part in the user experience. But what is really different from user testing is that usability testing does not cover the entire experience. Is the user testing legitimate? Well, the answer is yes, it is totally legitimate. Now let's discuss some of the tools which I used over the many years working as designer and that I think are a great place to start when it comes to user and user usability testing. Now the first one is userzoom.com, then we find usertesting.com, crazyegg.com and hotjar.com. Now, each and every one of these have each own pros and cons, and you might not be in a position to choose which one to use, since in some companies they're already performing A/B testing and those kind of testing. So you might need to check with your specific company. However, if that's not the case and maybe you're doing a freelance project or a consulting project, you might want to choose one of these and then just stick to it. And they're all really, really good, and you won't be disappointed. So, in conclusion, user testing should ideally be performed on every project, although in the real world it doesn't happen every time. The best designers in the world can foresee every problem, user action, and reaction. And the designers have ideas based on best practices and experience, so testing allows the ideas to be validated. Validation is vital to reducing risk. If the risk is very low, it can be excused, but in almost every scenario, some level of user testing will improve the process and save the business money. We try to bake user testing into everything we do. It helps validate our work and provide more value to our clients.